Hey friends, Lucian here with the Bullish Bears team. Wanted to make this video on the rising wedge pattern. So, the definition of a wedge. In technical analysis, a security price pattern where trend lines drawn above and below a price chart converge into an arrow shape. Wedge-shaped patterns are thought by technical analysis to be useful in analyzing a short to intermediate term reversal of what the analyst feels to be the major price trend. Breaking down a wedge. Once the price breaks out of the wedge, it is expected to return to the major trend. Technical analysis analysts see a breakout of this wedge pattern as either bullish on a breakout above the major trend line or bearish on a breakout below the lower trend line. A wedge shape pointing upwards, rising wedge, is used in analyzing an upward price trend with an overall downward price trend. A level wedge is considered a period of consolidation which will not reverse the current major trend. All right, so let me show you some real world examples of what this all looks like. Let's take a look at LAZ. Price is in an overall downtrend, right? You can see it's in a downtrend. Then you get this period of this consolidation that moves upwards. Where is that here? That forms like this wedge. You can see that wedges look very similar to flags. You could also just ignore I have my lines extended out here. This doesn't really matter right now. It does matter for support and resistance, no doubt. But for this video, just pay attention to where you see kind of like this highlighted area right here, right? So you can see price is in a downtrend, and then it kind of moves up and forms like this wedge-shaped pattern. Also looks like a flag. So many times people will say flags instead of wedges, or it's just again a matter of it's not bad to say that this is a flag. It is a wedge, but most important is to be able to draw these trend lines, right? So if you want to call it a flag, call it a flag, but it's a wedge. But again, we try to tell people don't bog yourself down in the minutia of things. Sometimes people call something that's a pennant a triangle, or something that's a flag a pennant, or a wedge. Again, the terms get a little bit confusing. That's why it's just most important. Find out what is actually happening, the story it's trying to tell, and be able to draw these trend lines. Again, if you don't know how to draw trend lines, just come and join our community. We're only $10 a month. We have obviously all these free courses, and then in our members only content, we teach how to draw trend lines back here. So we have some private members only videos that'll teach you how to do trend lines, and that'll help you to determine how to do things like triangles and wedges and pennants and all that good stuff. So yeah, here you go. Price is in a downtrend, kind of pushes back up, forms this wedge, and then price breaks down, and continues the trend, right? Overall downtrend, goes up, falls back down. Again, sometimes price can still continue upwards. It doesn't mean it's 100% going to fall all the time, but it's just you got to use these patterns more to your advantage, and more often than not, it's going to break down and break up. But again, anything can happen in the stock market. Patterns fail all of the time. Happens constantly, right? So it's important to just have proper risk management strategy set. Let's take a look at PGRE. So you can see price is in an overall downtrend, right? If I zoom in here, you'll see this period of consolidation upwards, right? Forms this wedge, looks like a flag. It's a wedge, whatever you want to call it, wedge or a flag. And you see it doesn't break the current downtrend, and then it breaks down, right? Falls out of that wedge and continues downwards, right? That's a rising wedge. There's also something called a falling wedge as well. We're going to be making video on that. That'll be in our course as well. So just to show you, that's what a wedge looks like. I'm going to show you several other examples because repetition is key, and I like to show you guys several of them just so you can kind of see what's happening. So this one was falling down here, is in a downtrend. You can see it kind of formed almost like a V, almost like a V bottom right here. So that's kind of a V bottom pattern as well. But it does also form a wedge, right? So there's always patterns within patterns, right? So again, someone could say, well, it's a V pattern, or is it a wedge? Well, there's a wedge forming within a V. Most importantly, you got to remind or remember is being able to draw a horizontal in vertical support and resistance lines and see what's happening. Price was falling, price came back up, created a channel, obviously was trying to retest the highs, failed right out over here. So it's a it's a failure pattern. Doesn't mean price can't go and break out of this channel and break up, and then that's another potential pattern, potential double top, right? Patterns within patterns within patterns. So important to really learn these patterns. JCI. So now this one right here, I like to again throw in a little bit of curveballs and stuff, because people could look at this and be like, that's a flag, right? Is it? I mean, it's a flag. It's kind of, it looks more like a flag than a wedge per se with the lines, but it's still telling the same story, right? Price is falling. It's in a downtrend. Had a period of consolidation up, followed by a failure down. So whether you want to call that a flag or a wedge, it's a longer period of consolidation that broke down, right? I like to show you real world examples because nothing is always perfect. Let's look at some more examples here. HAL. You can see this one back over here. Let's see. Price is in a downtrend, right? Then you can see when I zoom in, had that period of consolidation back up, kind of had this kind of V bottom. Kind of like you can say again, is that a wedge? Is it kind of a flag? Again, don't bog yourself down. Be aware of how to do these trend lines. See what's happening. Price is in a downtrend. Had a period of consolidation back up, followed by a breakdown, right? Falling, break up, break right back down. SVU. Where is that one? So this one right here, price is in a downtrend. You can see right here, really nice looking wedge here, right? Completely falling. Trend is going downwards. Consolidation all the way back up. Really nice looking wedge right over here. Broke down right out of the wedge, right? Really nice looking one. All right, let's look at a couple more examples here. STLD. This one, it was kind of heading downwards, not as drastic as the other ones were. But if I zoom in over here, you'll see kind of a wedge. A little sloppy looking, right? Not the greatest, but again, real world examples. Finding these trend lines, finding what happens. Price is falling, consolidated back upwards in this channel. Price broke down, right? O. So this is heading downwards right here, downtrend. Again, nice looking wedge. Find these trend lines. They converge up to make that nice looking wedge pattern, right? Another wedge pattern. Again, some people say it can look like a flagpole down with a flag up. Some people could say it looks like a pennant, right? Could look like a triangular pennant. Pennants could look very similar. Again, some people with pennants, wedges, and flags can be very confusing, but they're all telling, very, very similar stories. That's why you got to just look at more of what the story that's being told first, rather than, is something 100% exact. Price is in a downtrend here. You can see, zooming back over here, falling downwards, consolidation, find these channels here, price breaks down, right? Over and over and over again, these patterns happen. What is this next one? IIVI. So this one right here, ignore way over here those trend lines, but this one, this was a little bit of a downtrend. It was actually kind of heading in an uptrend, right? So it was kind of more heading in an uptrend, had a little bit of a pullback, kind of like, so again, this is like, is this going to be a flag or is it going to be a wedge? It's kind of got a wedge pattern to it. It's got somewhat looking like a flag, but either way, price is falling, consolidated back up, broke out of the channel, right? Over and over and over again.